Nowadays, I think that seeing people with disabilities integrated in the community is very normal. It's what we want, it's what we aspire, but it hasn't been easy. In the hospitals, it used to be that when an adult with disabilities would enter the emergency room, they would automatically ask for a DNR order because they felt like, why go too far?
When Tim was born in 1964, right after he was born, the doctor that they called in to make the diagnosis of Down syndrome came into the room and said, you know, your child has problems, he has Down syndrome, he'll probably never live past his first year, and you probably shouldn't even take him home from the hospital. You should put him right into an institution. And it was like, you know, obviously getting smacked in the face.
Physicians were very scared because they view in their minds people with disabilities as people who had a lot of neurological problems, complicated seizures, and other behaviors.
People with disabilities didn't have the visibility that they do now.
We went to a restaurant and this manager came up and said, "You can't bring those people in here. Nobody wants to look at them while they're eating."
You somehow pull a screen in front of yourself and it doesn't break your heart as it did early on or as it might when you get into discussions. You live it.
So that dissatisfaction made us act in different ways through supporting the individual needs and hopes and dreams. So I view ARCA as that organization that figured out how to do it well.
When I joined ARCA, it was a parent organization. We had monthly membership meetings, and we brought cookies and coffee and discussed what we could do to improve our kids' lives.
There wasn't much in the way of a professional staff back in those days, so it was kind of caretaking. The whole staff consisted of an executive director, that was Cherie, that was it. I could remember the time she called me and she was very excited and she says, "I've hired a secretary." And everybody got excited. We're growing, we're growing. And it was just so thrilling.
We have always called ourselves a family, and at that time we truly were, because we were small enough that we knew most everybody.
Everybody that worked at ARCA knew everybody else that worked at ARCA, and we knew all the individuals, and the roster of the individuals in the homes fit on one sheet of paper.
Bring on the homes, bring on the staff, train the staff, make sure that shifts were covered and all that. And then I can remember leaving the office at the end of the day thinking, there's nothing left in the tank. I got nothing else to give. I am spent, I'm exhausted. And then I'd wake up the next morning, it's like, I can't wait to get to work.
I think at one time we were kind of like the radicals that were bringing people out and bringing them into the community, and that was considered to be somewhat of a radical thought, like, oh my goodness, that we're doing this. And then by the time the late 80s came, we were the expected outcome, and all of a sudden the institutions were being the marginalized group. That's a cool thing I think that attracted me too, was to see that we were part of a movement. We really were. I'm Ed Call, I'm ARCA's CEO, and I came to ARCA in 1982.
I think Ed's a nice guy. He's a good president for our company.
To go down to the office, and they're always coming over to Priscilla and I saying hi to both of us.
Yeah. So my first day at ARCA, I came to work, we had a half a day of training. There was a lot of fear on my first day, but recognizing that they were just people. I think the one thing I want people to know, and I know they don't know, and that a lot of people don't know, first of all, is that we're here, not ARCA, but that people with intellectual and developmental disabilities are here. They're living in their community. They're not takers. They are contributors. I think the most important thing that I can do any day to drive the culture, to insist upon, it's not just driving the culture, it's insisting upon the culture. It's insisting upon excellence.
He's a very hard worker.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're really here so that Carolyn has a great life. We're really here that Steve has a great life. That this person, and you know what, they do. And they'll tell you that.
My name is Priscilla.
My name is Jerry Ruddy.
And my name is Evelyn Reyes.
ARCA is the best company to people with disability to belong to.
Whatever they wish, I try to make it happen. For them to have like the best experiences that they can and creating memories for them. And
She does. She does a good job at it. We met at Merrymakers. It's sort of like a place like for the disability place where they have dances. They called me a wallflower because I wouldn't get out and dance. So they got Priscilla out there told Priscilla, get out and dance with Jerry. So he got him out there, and she danced with me, and all of a sudden, every Friday night, we danced together all the time. And her mom says, don't rush into it too fast, Priscilla.
Yeah.
Because I gave her a friendship ring.
She said.
Friendship ring, you know, at first. I just asked her, I was in the house, and I said, Priscilla, would you like to get married? And she said, yes. She's more important to me than anybody else in this whole town, this whole world.
I'm Marcy Manning. I'm the Supported Living Services Director, and I've been here for 28 years. And this is Helene Valdez, and she's been with ARCA for almost 30 years. And we're 6 months apart. I'm older. She gives me a hard time about that all the time. And we keep talking, I'm gonna be red till I'm dead, because we've gone through all these different hair colors, and so she's, and now she's finally a redhead. She's been purple, black. I won't talk about the gray.
And I think people don't always realize that ARCA is a family to our individuals, and we support them like our very own family.
Now, what's the other favorite place that you like to go, Helene?
Yeah. This is one I wish you had your note paper out. Should we say? I think we should I say? The Thunder Down Under.
Or Chippendales.
Or the Chippendales. And that's a big night. You go and have a lot of fun. But then they also love to go to lots of country music, and for you, hard metal. I remember that day with your wheelchair in the rain. That was a hard day, but you made it.
Stand by you.
I feel blessed that I get to work with so many great individuals. They're wonderful people, loving, kind, caring. I just hope they have a long, happy, healthy life.
You know, something that is right along and paramount to our nursing services is that it's relationship nursing. We build relationships with these individuals, and we love them, and I hope to think that they love us too. And when you have that kind of relationship, we're able to fine-tune things for them. They, they're more willing to tell us when they're hurting or even when they're upset. So we're looking at wellness in a whole different manner. We're looking at psychological, and we're looking at physiological and anatomical health all at the same time. And it's just been a joy learning this world of nursing.
And now nurses are being certified in developmental disabilities.
And we have a lot of medically fragile people in supported living. These people used to be in skilled nursing facilities.
Even then, it was difficult to get nurses. Now we have a little bit of a nurse shortage, but nurses to administer medications, but they step up to it. It's just remarkable.
The quality of life for the individuals, you look around this room, you look around this home, what a difference it is than skilled nursing. And so our individuals who have had so many medical needs have had the opportunity to live in the community, be really involved in the community, no matter what kind of disability, no matter what kind of medical needs that they have. They are out there.
But I came to make a home visit at 7:30 in the morning, and there was Mel, wide awake and bushy-tailed, and she's like, "Good morning, it's an awesome day." And I was like, I had one eye open. You know, I wasn't quite awake yet, but she was so awake and happy, and I think that Mel wakes up that way every day.
We provide foster care services for the state's most vulnerable kiddos.
Being a foster parent is very rewarding. My mother was also a foster mother. She got her first foster child when I was 2 weeks old. So I grew up thinking, all families do this. This is the way people live.
We do receive calls in the middle of the night, and a child that has been taken out of a abusive situation often comes into care with literally nothing. It's just themselves, and maybe a police officer has given them a teddy bear.
A lot of the children come with very little information. We glibly say sometimes it's almost like they just drop out of the air. But then you have to rebuild their lives and teach them to trust. And a lot of them are going through such difficult things in their normal life that it gets to be really hard for them to bond with you.
We have kiddos that come to us that have hospice care set up because they know that child's going to die. And those kids come into our homes, and we sit at meetings with all kinds of medical staff around the table who tell us medical facts and about the kiddos. And it's amazing because they come into our care and our foster families' care, and the next thing you know, it's a year later, and we're sitting having meetings to take that child off of hospice. And the next thing you know, we're sitting having a meeting to enroll that child in school. And so it's just such a neat program to be able to experience the growth from love.
We probably all of us have said at one time or in our life about some situation or somebody, we need a miracle. We sure could use a miracle. That's all it's going to save this is a miracle. Well, we have a little girl that we're about to adopt. She will be our fifth graduate from, we got her at 11 days of age from UNM. She was only supposed to live a matter of months with the genetic problem she had. Most babies don't even get born, they just die. So she went on the hospice, and they came and maintained her, and she was full of life all that time, about 9-10 months. And then we wanted, she had a DNR put on her, and anyway, at the end of those about 11 months, we wanted her to get a feeding button in her belly, which would make it real easy for her. So in order to do that, she had to go off hospice. She had to get the DNR removed. We did, it worked fine. We just enrolled her. She's been, about 3 weeks now, I think, in school. She's 3 years old, at 3 years and going on her third month. Nobody knows why. I said the other day, in passing, if I could write a book, I'd write a book and it would be The Girl Who Forgot to Die.
Oh my gosh, probably one of my favorite memories was an individual, Daryl and Peter, the other housemate, taking them on vacation to Graceland. Daryl thought he was Elvis Presley and I was Priscilla Presley. So he was getting sick, and I knew that he loved Elvis and Graceland, and that was one of his dreams, was to go to Graceland. So I arranged it, and we were able to take a trip out there. And he thought he was the real deal. I bought him a costume at one of the Halloween stores and dressed him up, and he thought it was the real deal. We just had a blast over there.
It's my spare time I might do. I like to travel a lot. I want to go, and sometimes, last year we went on a cruise to Jamaica. It was good.
Scott was just talking about a cruise that we went on in February, actually. We went to Jamaica. I don't know if you remember, Scott, but you and I sat next to each other on the bus on the way to the ship, to the port. And I have Scott on video like a kid in a candy store, and he's looking at the ship and his eyes are huge, and he's just like, oh my gosh, this is my dream come true, and look at it. And we were all just on the verge of tears, I think, too, because you realize what you may have taken for granted up until now. The guys who went and the ladies who went on the cruise, like Scott, they saved their money that they earned from, maybe going to work or their little bit of Social Security check. They saved 2 years sometimes just to be able to go on this cruise, Again, people's incomes are limited, so they struggle to pay for basic things. Sometimes people can only save $10 a month or $20 a month if they're lucky. So to be able to go on a great vacation is just, it's more than having fun for people who are in services or living in independent living. It's a true increase in their quality of life. It also opens their perspectives on other cultures and languages and how we perceive ourselves too.
I am Mary Murphy, and I have been with ARCA for 35 years, and I am the Independent Living Division Director. We serve people in independent living who live in the community pretty much on their own. We have a few homes where there's 2 to 3 people living there, and they get anywhere from 5 to 20 hours of support, but they're pretty much out there on their own. They take the bus all over the city, they have jobs. Some of them drive cars, some of them are married. They do the same things that you and I do.
My ever dream now is to record music and put it in the industry of the radio stations, and so that people could hear me and I can create more fan base that way. Hey, my name is Kenny Rodriguez. I basically wrote this song about last year, and I've been a songwriter since 1996, and this is called Live Without Emotion. Goes a little something like this. Live without emotions. We live without emotions. We live without emotions just to be with each other. We live without emotions. We live without emotions. We live without emotions just to be with each other. Every day is a new day, and you know it ain't gonna work this way. No, life is a price you pay. And you know what I'm gonna say to you now. Well, I live without emotions. I live without emotions. I live without emotion just to be with you.
I used to live at different group homes until I came here for Portrait Living, because I used my own legal guardian.
I'm Michelle's assistant, and I help. And usually on Fridays morning at 8 o'clock, we meet here. And this one right here, she's running behind, so it's like, okay, let's
running late.
Let's figure out, let's plan for the next month.
I still tell the story to some people because it reminds people of the fact that we don't really know what somebody can do until we've known them for a while, until we've, gotten to know somebody. And so when I first started here, I was driving around with some individuals in the car, and I had already been here maybe 4 months. And one of the guys in the back seat, I thought he couldn't speak. He had been described to me as somebody who was nonverbal, and I just thought he didn't communicate verbally. And so here I had been working with him for 4 months, and we're driving, and all of a sudden he says my name in the back seat, Michelle. I look in the mirror, I'm like, yes. And I thought, this has got to be it. This is all he's saying. could we go to the gas station? I want to get a snack. And I thought, you talk? He's like, yeah. And it's still to this day one of those where I'm like, you cannot judge a book by its cover, and you have to make your own experiences, because people will open up to you when they're ready. But I always think of that one.
Is it Fred? It took him 10 years before he said anything to me. I was like, ah, yes.
I think people are surprised every day with the amount of people with disabilities that are working. We've always seen somebody at McDonald's. We've always seen somebody. And I don't think that we realize how many people really go to work every day with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
So Dave & Buster's called us out of the blue one day, and they asked us that they were looking for clients that would be interested in doing some smaller tasks that they particularly don't have time to complete. So Raleigh did an interview.
Raleigh's an individual within ARCA. Raleigh's so excitable for wanting to contribute. Raleigh's always got a smile. Raleigh's words are, they're wise words. They're words that want to make me listen to him. And he cares to help. He cares to dress up and put a tie on and come to a board meeting and contribute and to understand.
Me at the bus, I got deployed. Back in May, I was the one that got the employee of the month. I was outside it. And they gave me the plaque.
This is Athena's first job in the community with Dave & Buster's, so she's very happy when she got the job.
Oh, I enjoy it. I actually love it. I get up in the morning, I go catch the early morning bus. I go straight into work, and I start preparing our site and all that and everything for the day. And I get to say hi to everybody while I'm doing so, and yeah, that's mainly what it is.
I'm Jessica Charlie. I'm the Lomest West ARCA Administrative Assistant and Receptionist.
I think the favorite thing I like is whenever I do one of my works, or whenever I send someone to their meetings or everything, and then if I know that I send them to the right place, or when I did copies or something, if I do it right and they leave happy, I'm happy.
That's my favorite job.
Personally, what I like about ARCA is everybody's all friendly, really nice to talk to, make a lot of friendships, and I'm just gonna confess, I also like being in charge.
Yeah, I'm a nice, most considerate man.
I think that this is for everyone who got disability, cannot find a job, or need help to find a job. ARCA's pretty good. I remember when I was in high school, I always used to say, I want a job, but it was hard for me to look for a job because I don't know how to read that much. I can't do money, and out of nowhere, my teacher talked to me about ARCA, and they got me into ARCA, and that was when I started working at the greenhouse.
Hi, welcome to La Paloma Greenhouse, and just wanted to show you around a little bit and tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. My name is Jim Douglas. I'm a division director with ARCA, and I've been here for 23 years. So as we're coming up here, this is one of our first greenhouses that is actually modern. Currently we're growing poinsettias. It's one of the two big crops that we do every year. The big crop in the spring is geraniums, and we do about 7,000 a year, and we start in July. And it's so much fun because the folks get a chance to mix the soil and pot the pots and plant the plants. But the magic really happens is when we take this fully grown plant and we take it to the place it's going to be sold, to another retail store or another nonprofit. Because once you've taken this plant out of the greenhouse and taken it to where it's going to be enjoyed by the public, you've changed who you are in the community. I'm no longer Jim with a disability, I'm Jim that can grow a really nice plant. This is one of our experiential gardens. We have many around the property. And this is an area where people can grow anything that they want to. One of my favorite stories from this area is one year I asked one of our guys, I said, well, what do you want to grow this year? And he looked at me like I had 6 heads and he said, well, pizza, duh. And so what we did is we decided to look at all that he wanted on his pizza. So that year we did onions and tomatoes and bell peppers and green chili. And at the harvest time, about this time of year, we took it down to the end of the street to Village Pizza and they gave us their restaurant for half a day and we went in and destroyed the place, but we grew pizza that year. This is one of my favorite places on the grounds. It looks a lot like grass, but it's pretty special. And it's special because we have a riding lawnmower. And so that way all the folks get that feeling of independence, get that feeling of power. They get to get on a mechanized tractor and drive it around and cut the grass. And for those of us that have never driven a car or maybe be able to ever, it's a pretty special experience. And in here you can see that we're doing wheatgrass. Wheatgrass is an amazing product, not only for its nutritional value, 1 ounce of juiced wheatgrass is like eating 2.5 pounds of raw vegetables, but it grows very fast, which is great as a teaching tool. So this grass was just grown several days ago and you can see the sprouts. 7 days from there, you get this. It grows incredibly fast. And what's important about that is everyone that works in this house comes in every day and they can see they can see what they've done. It's instant gratification. So it's a great teaching tool. It's a great product. We grow and deliver over 200 flats a week. It gets our folks into the community. That's very missional. And so it's a great product and a great place.
It's not magic, it's hard work. In creating those opportunities, you've met some of the people here in this facility who are talking about their work. And it's just like the rest of us. You know, we'll complain about our work, we're happy about our work, but they've got real lives and they're real members of this community.
Our associate employees are crucial to me doing my job. If I didn't have them, I couldn't do what I needed to be done on a daily basis. They do so much and they're so helpful. They come to work every day. They are on time. They're friendly. Thanks, guys. I appreciate all your help, all of you, every single one of you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
It's been an honor serving with you.
Thank you.
We look at things and say, is there a solution? Can we be positive about this? So the most difficult thing is when you fall into the rut of being that it's too overwhelming. That there's too much regulation, it's too overwhelming, there's not enough of this, there's all these factors, and that's the point in time. When I'm feeling that way, that's the point in time I need to call up one of the people that I worked with 20 years ago and say, let's go to lunch. Because, or just come and meet me, or we'll go grab a coffee, or we'll do something, because then you know why you're doing it. And it takes away that you can't do it, because then it's because I have to do it, you know.
I took Tim to see a Donnie and Marie concert about a month ago, and we were getting to our seats, and he was using a wheelchair because it was too far for him to walk through the venue. I was putting him into the seat, and the 2 ladies at the end had to stand up to let us through. And as we went through, the one lady said, please move him over. My sister doesn't want to sit next to him. I was shocked. I was in such shock that I just went, okay, we'll move over. So you know, you still have prejudice out there.
There is still discrimination out there. There's still obstacles in the community that they have to overcome, just getting on a bus or going into a store, or getting respect from you know, from someone on the outside. It's gotten a lot better, and they are truly fully included.
I think it makes us, I always tell people, I always go through the bell curve, and I said that when we, you know, in the beginning, that you had a piece of the bell curve was missing. And so that, I really believe that as people and human beings, you need to experience the whole realm of the human experience, and that makes you a better person. Because you still do run into people who say maybe people shouldn't be in the community. I love to talk about that there is a profound impact of having people with intellectual and developmental disabilities living in our communities.
Well, and it brings the idea of don't ever underestimate people's potential, anyone's potential.
60 years ago was 1957. We're going to be around another 60 years. That's 2077. And, you know, can you imagine the things that are going to happen during that time frame?
I would love to see ARCA in the next 60 years continue to grow. Not only grow in terms of the produce and the plants and the things that our folks get to be a part of, but to grow as a part of the community, to continue to grow in terms of the life lessons that we get to teach, grow in terms of the interactions that we have with the community, especially grow to be able to show the community all the great gifts that our folks have.
Just in the 5 years that I've been here, I've seen a difference in people's involvement. Meaning, I think there's a difference in how people view their contribution to the community and to society. I think that 5 years ago, there was really only a focus on that support that's needed in the home, or do you need a ride to your appointment? And now there seems to be this, well, what skills do you have and how can we use those as well, and how can you give back to your community with those skills?
Oh, I just see us getting better and better and better, like I've watched for, you know, for the last 35 years. What ARCA does is, whether it's in the office, whether it's out in the homes, we put the people we serve above anything else. And it shows, and I don't see us ever not doing that.
More money. You know, I wish that ARCA, or, you know, this field, this field would have a lot more money, you know, coming in. Just so that we could do more wonderful things with our individuals, and we wouldn't have to worry about money all the time, which, you know, it's stressful.
It's important for everyone to consider ARCA, even though you as a family may not be exposed to the challenge of having a family member with IDD. Again, intellectual and developmental disabilities, okay? But the truth of the matter is, we all know someone whose family has that situation, and one day, one of your children, one of your sister's children, you may be confronted with the reality of IDD. And it's great to know that this organization with open arms embraces that and provides that individual with life-changing access to purpose.
We have taken the paintings from ARCA, from the persons that are getting service, Peter in particular, and we've taken Peter's paintings and we've put them in our house. We have ARCA in our house, and every morning when we wake up, there's a piece of ARCA that is there. And it's the reason for what we do. It's because we care, and because ARCA cares, and because Peter does such a great job. He deserves a quality of life. And I think for Virginia and I, we see that every day, and we enjoy it, and we rejoice that we can make a little bit of difference for Peter and all the other ones.
It's a legacy of love, and no matter what we do, you know, no matter what decision we make, at the end of the day, it's always about somebody else, and it's always about somebody else's life.
But I hope that I will always be in touch with people here at ARCA, keep some of the friendships and the relationships that I've developed with the people that we serve. You know, I would be at a loss. I would just be so sad if I thought that I moved on at some point and didn't get to see or talk to these people that have changed my life.
It's just a great agency to work for. They care so much about these individuals. We all do.
In many ways, I just feel like my life has been blessed by having the opportunity to be here. So it's not been necessarily a job all these years. I think there's been a lot more to it than just being a job, and that's where Ed's emotions kick in. As you know, Ed voice can crack and tears in his eyes about nothing when it comes to the people we serve, because it's just, there's just something there that has made my life truly remarkable and rewarding.
Every day is a learning process. We learn as we go. And I think we, as people, make mistakes. We're not perfect, but at least we try. I think we need more support like I have had, because I learned a lot.
We had to draw something, our vision, and it's a vision that I had, a picture of the world, and it had like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle in it. And I said, the world is like a large jigsaw puzzle with a piece, as in peace on earth, missing. And it's just something I really, even though the world has problems, I think if we just try to work together, period. Whether you're pink, blue, black, white, whatever. If you could we could all work together like we do here, as a team, we could make this world a lot better than anything else.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to ARCA. Happy birthday to you.